all new users get a bonus of 50 cents. The best Dota 2 chest opening website that features a reputable, provably fair system has launched a new event. Dota Boom gives all new users a bonus of 50 cents for opening chests. You don't need to make a deposit, just log in. Okay, what am I supposed to do with it? You can open a treasure chest right away, for example, the Wisdom Rune chest. In addition to other cool items such as C-Reg's Bridle, there's also a Juggernaut Arcana there. It's simple. Go to Dota Boom by clicking the link in the pinned comment, grab your bonus, sell cheap items, however Arcana items or other expensive skins you send right to your Steam account. But that's not all. Every day, the top 20 most active and lucky players will share skins worth over $100 and $300 every week. For example, this guy wins an Axia of Matera, and this dude gets a Golden Infernal Chieftain. Enter this promo code even if you've already used another one, and you'll get a bonus of 5% on your deposit and another chest from us. Hurry up, it will be available until December 11th. Click the link, activate the promo code, and get your bonus right away.
Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today we're going to be talking about the top 5 offlaners of the current patch. I have a couple of honorable mentions as well, but yeah, I want to give you guys the items, the general skill build. Obviously, there's quite a bit of variation in items and skill builds depending on matchups, but you know, typically what you'll go, a few gameplay tips for each of the heroes, and so on and so forth. So if you like these videos, please subscribe to the channel, and yeah, let's get into it. Okay, starting off with the honorable mentions, I had to put Lycan here. This hero doesn't have necessarily the best win rate. However, I think making an offlane tier list without the occasional Beastmaster when that hero is super broken, I don't think it's super broken right now, but you know, a Beastmaster, or in this case, I think the much better unit hero being Lycan is just wrong. Lycan in the current meta, if you find him in the right game, is still insane. In pro games, this hero is a constant threat, and honestly, if you're an offlane player, you should have this hero in your pool. If you're, really trying to diversify, it should be in your pool. If you see a Skywrath and a Shadow Demon support duo as the first phase, you can pretty comfortably second phase Lycan in your pubs and be in a really, really good position to have insane impact. All you have to do is hit Helm Dom 2 and hunt the supports in team fights. Eventually, when you pick up AC, you can start to kill cores. Yeah, I mean, basically, yeah, honorable mention Lycan. If you find the right matchups, this is a mega cheese hero. Obviously not nearly as consistent as some of the other heroes on this list, but yeah, in the right games, you got to pick up Lycan. Okay, the other honorable mention is Centaur Warrunner. Centaur honestly is considered to be hyper broken in pro right now. This hero is literally everywhere. The reason why, stable lane, and Helm Dom is kind of just too good. Also, I mean, a couple other things. Let's start with the Helm Dom. So basically, Helm Dom is too good on this hero because you really need the armor, right? You really need the HP regen to farm. And then this hero actually has a pretty hard time farming the large creep in certain camps. It just takes a little bit too long with Retaliate and Double Edge, especially when you don't want to use Double Edge in the early game. And so Helm Dom just allows you to take the big creeps and use the big creeps to kill other big creeps. Also, you can use Helm of the Dominator to stack up lane creeps, right? Drag around lane creeps, and then farm multiple ways at the same time. So it's really broken. Now, after that, really it's the fact that auras are still just really good. Pipe, Crimson, Blade Mail is an exceptional item, especially in average pubs. And then eventually this hero's axe is just great. The fact that you can save allies through Nullifier, through a whole variety of spells is insane. If you haven't seen the Centaur card, it's really, really broken. It also just gives you casual Stampede. So one of the best saves in the game, considering your ally can literally still hit and can't be targeted at all during it. One of the most broken ags in the game, probably top 5, if not the best in the game. It's definitely up there on its timing. So yeah, you just kind of hit your auras fast and you have some really broken items. Okay, let's get into the list now. Starting off at number 5, we have Legion Commander. So I'd say the reason you don't see it in these pro games is really just due to the fact that it can't farm very well, and that's a really big detriment. It doesn't push waves overly effectively. Obviously, you can click your Q, but you have mana problems and it still takes literally forever. You don't farm backwards. Like if your game is bad on Legion Commander, it's one of the worst heroes in the game. Legion from behind is pretty terrible until you hit Blink Blade Mail. So yeah, the hero has some pretty major flaws. So why would it be number 5 out of all of the offlaners in the game? Well, the reality is this hero in pubs is just much better. On this list, I would say the lower you go, the better the hero is. Basically, Blink Blade Mail duel is just insane. People tend to itemize way more into DPS than they should. Glass cannon builds are literally everywhere, and as a result, the Legion becomes a very good hero. Now, I will say I actually do believe the hero is a little undervalued in the pro scene. I do think Legion, when picked into things like Jakiro or Warlock, can be really nice. If you see some sort of like, let's say a Jakiro Kez lane, Legion's going to be one of the best heroes in the game that has a chance at dealing with this really broken lane, especially if you take the Stonehall Plate facet, which I'm a big fan of, so you can get through the lane on Legion, because if you lose the lane on Legion, this hero is bad. It doesn't recover well at all. So I really like that facet, but almost everyone takes Spoils of War, which is the facet on Legion that gives allies damage if they get assists on duels, and more importantly, it dispels everyone who got an assist on the duel. And honestly, that feature of Legion Commander is really good. The Spoils of War facet, duel in team fights, giving you a dispel is really nice, because basically you can go in, blink, blade mail duel, you're going to get spells casted on you, right? People are going to try to counter initiate on you, and you're going to win the duel most of the time, hopefully. And then you're going to get a dispel and you can disengage, right? That's huge. So if you can get through the lane with the Spoils of War facet, it's really good in the mid game, really, really, really good. And then from there, yeah, you just kind of go like blink, blade mail, Ags, BKB. In terms of skill build, it's just like max Q, nothing crazy there. So pretty basic hero in terms of skill build, max Q, generally max E next, and you just go from there. Pretty straightforward hero in terms of items and skill build. Okay, coming in at number 4 is a bit of an oddball, but I'm actually really excited to talk about this hero. It's a hero I want to make an entire video on very, very soon for offlane or for mid. I think the hero is good in both roles. But yeah, why is this hero number 4 in the offlane list? So I really believe in Viper because of how good the hero's mid game actually is now. Now, you might be thinking, okay, it's probably some like Hurricane Pike, Manta Style, Scotty, Butterfly, Orchid, and just like right-click Viper build. But no, Caustic Bath has proven to be one of the best facets in the game. It was something I definitely overlooked for a long time, even though I actually had a couple of people bring it up to me that this facet looks good and feels good and does a lot. If you don't know what Caustic Bath is, basically if Viper sits in Nether Toxin, his second ability, he gets bonus magic resistance and does more damage with Corrosive Skin over time. So how do you abuse Caustic Bath? That is the question. Now let's start with the laning stage. So honestly, this is where the hero is weakest, which sounds really crazy, but yeah, I actually think Viper offlane is not the best. It has a lot of matchups where you can kind of just get run over. However, if your matchups are good, if you end up against something like the very popular Dragonite carry, you can do very, very well in the lane, like exceptionally well in the lane. So what do you do in terms of skill build? It's actually pretty tough. There's going to be a lot of players who are going to suggest maxing Nether Toxin, right? Your W first, and that's basically going to guarantee that you can farm. In fact, a very common skill build on Viper right now is you max Nether Toxin and you max Corrosive Skin, and with these two abilities maxed out, you farm really fast. Also with Caustic Bath, you can see the synergy. It amps the damage of your E, right? That's how it works. It amps the corrosive damage, not Nether Toxin damage, it amps corrosive damage, and so you want your W and your E maxed out, and so people play around this logic. However, I think you have to be careful, guys. If you're against a lane where poison attack at level 3, right, 2 points in poison attack at level 3, is going to literally get you multiple kills, please don't max your W and your E. Take 2 points in your Q, win the lane, and then max W and E. Okay, if you're in a favorable matchup, 2 points Q, then max W and E. It's a big mistake to just be like, yeah, I'm maxing W no matter what, and then completely sacrificing a winning matchup and just drawing even is a big, big, big mistake that a lot of Vipers are making, I think, in multiple roles, even in the pro scene right now. I really disagree with that take. So yeah, basically do that. In terms of items, it's just 1-3 branches. There's a lot of different item builds you can go. I'm going to keep it a stack. There's a lot. Some players are going Helm Dom. I think it's totally fine still to go Treads. If you want to take 2 points in Q, you should buy Treads in a lot of games. You should have raindrops. And frankly, like if you want to rush an Ags, the fun pub build is Brown Boots, like Null Talisman. Obviously you have a wand, Brown Boots, Null Talisman, raindrops, and then you just buy an Ags. Now, I'm not a fan of that build because you kind of are pretty weak for a while. You have shitty Ags components, but when you hit the eventual Ags, you do a lot of damage. Now, you might be like, what is Viper Ags? Because that's a big part of this build. Okay, so if you don't know what the Ags does, it does a couple of things, 2 main things. So first of all, it gives you Nosedive, which is an ability. This is actually a really good ability for Viper because it gives you mobility. It essentially allows you to like jump forward, and then it creates a corrosive skin on the ground, right? It puts a corrosive skin, a more potent corrosive skin on enemies within the radius. It releases Nether Toxin of the corresponding level, which is really cool, right? So you have this axe, you jump forward with the nosedive, and then all of a sudden you're putting down this maxed out nether toxin that also is, taking advantage of the caustic bath. And yeah, this more potent corrosive skin that the ability applies, basically what it does is it giga amplifies the attack speed slow. It's 4 times for heroes that are close to Viper. They literally cannot attack. Nether toxin is an attack speed slow, and then this axe furthers that. It's really, really funny. You practically cannot hit at all. If the hero is not BKB'd, they will not kill you with physical hits, period. So yeah, this hero scales really well in terms of items, as I said. Generally, it's like Ags. After Ags, there's a lot of variation. A lot of people want boots of travel, right? So you can move around the map. The hero's pretty slow. Personally, I'm a big fan of buying a Hurricane Pike in a lot of games. However, a lot of players like to just double down on the Ags, buy something like a Shiba's. I think it's a little bit weird to do that because honestly, you already have enough attack speed slow, but yeah, it's magic resist, it's armor, the hero kind of needs, sort of. But yeah, personally, I'm a big fan of going Pike and Manta and kind of being like a semi-hybrid build. I just believe that the full utility builds are a little kiteable and don't scale as well. They scale well, but I'm a big fan of Ags into Pike, into Manta. The Mantas apply corrosive skin, so you can cut creep waves, you can continue to scale, you can dispel, which this hero usually will get kited a lot by, dispellable abilities. So I'm a big fan of that. By the way, guys, this hero's level 10 talent is broken. That's the last thing I want to talk about. Level 10 talent is broken. It's corrosive skin damage, some crazy, crazy stuff. So yeah, Viper I really recommend giving it a go. This Ags is super fun, really explosive, great for farming, scales well. It's pretty awesome. Okay, coming in at number 3, I'm going to spend less time on this one because I've talked about this hero in a lot of videos pretty recently, and that is Axe. But Axe deserves a spot on number 3. This hero is insanely stable. Personally, I hate laning against Axe as a +5 player because any good Axe is just spamming Battle Hunger on me off cooldown. They have 3 rings of protection, which amps the damage of Battle Hunger times 1 per armor, which is it's like 200 damage at level 1. This spell is really just broken. 50 mana, 240 damage or something BS like that. It's crazy. So the hero's laning, ridiculously stable. The hero's farming, ridiculously stable. The hero's mid game, insanely stable. This hero is really, really stable. I am a Giga Axe fan for that reason. You can first pick Axe, totally fine. You might be like, what if I play against Ursa? Pretty playable. I really believe. Okay, if you're against Ursa, guys, the lane is frankly pretty playable. Yeah, you can mess up and die. It's possible. But if you play well around Battle Hunger, if you're an expert of the spell, you can win the lane. Like pretty consistently. Depends on supports. You can win the lane. And then if you're against something like Ursa or Razor, you buy a Helm Dom, you use it to farm, and then your next item can be literally anything. You buy Pipe, Crimson, Force Staff. It could be Blink. It could be Blade Mail. You can buy literally anything to kite the game. All you have to do then is buy your shard, max Battle Hunger and max your E, and just apply Battle Hunger on enemies. If you don't know what Axe's shard does, it lets you stack Battle Hungers, and anytime you call someone, it applies Battle Hunger. Basically, you just put out a billion Battle Hungers in the team fight. You can unironically go Helm Dom Pipe, no Blink, no Blade Mail. When you have bad matchups, if you're against Veno Ursa, don't buy Blink Blade Mail. You're probably not going to use it very well. Just buy utility items and then play around that. You're going to have a great time. Now, if it's a good Blink Blade Mail game, then just buy Blink Blade Mail. That's what I love about Axe. This hero has so much flexibility in items, so you can pick it at any point in the draft, fill any gap that your team needs. You need a Pipe buyer? Great. You need a Force Staff? Great. You need a Crimson? Great. You need a Blink Blade Mail buyer? Wonderful. So yeah, huge fan of Axe, Mr. Consistency in my opinion from the offlane. So yeah, easily number 3. Now coming in at number 2 is a hero that I think is a bit more dominant in the right games, but a hero that's very similar to Viper, and that's Veno. I'm sorry to make Viper and Venos show up a bit more in your pubs, guys, but I mean, here's the thing. Veno offlane, it's so annoying. This hero, to be fair, I do believe it is a little bit more situational than Axe, so maybe these heroes are a bit interchangeable on 2 and 3, but man, you find this hero in a decent game, and oh my gosh, its impact is just ridiculous. Ever since they made the Plague Wards tankier, you can't kill these things. You just can't kill them. Also, with the Plague Carrier facet being changed where the Plague Wards get Septic Shock damage, which is they do more damage if the enemy is debuffed by literally anything, which we'll talk about that in a second. They do more damage. I mean, these things just hurt. They hurt and they're unkillable. They give vision. vision, they break blinks. I mean, they're just so damn annoying. This hero kind of just does everything. Now, its early laning is a little bit weak. That is the weakness of the hero. If you can gank this hero from levels 1 to 3, it typically dies pretty easily. It's very slow, very squishy. That is the flaw of the hero. If you can get past that stage, you're mega chilling. You're mega chilling. You're one of the fastest farmers in the game. You can farm literally anything, any camp, ancients at level 3. You can farm ancients at level 1 or level 3 very fast. It's very efficient. So yeah, even if your lane is bad, you can easily come back, just farm the triangle. Not kidding. It's insanely stable for that reason. If your lane is good, generally what the skill build should be is Poison Sting level 1, sometimes Gale if you need it for defensive reasons. Then at level 2, personally, I'm a big fan of taking Poison Sting and Plague Wards. Ever since they buffed the Plague Wards, they're just a lot better at level 1, a lot tankier, and you can just kind of use it to zone out the enemy pos 5 so they can't, go on you. You can help your pos 5 to trade. You can block the small camp with the Plague Wards. A lot of value in the spell. If you have a kill lane for whatever reason, of course, you can take Venomous Gale at level 2 and play for kills. Again, if you're in a kill lane, Poison Sting at level 3. If the lane is chill, honestly, I'm a big fan of taking the Plague Wards again at level 3 and just kind of farming the large camp when it spawns, continuing to push the wave, just being very, very chill. However, you can also go 1-1-1 because with the Plague Carrier facet, if you hit a Gale and have a point in Plague Wards, it spawns 2 Plague Wards. And then you can honestly overwhelm the enemy. It's very common at, like, for instance, the Lotus fight at minute 3. Sometimes you're going to be level 3 and you can be 1-1-1, and that's often the strongest build for that level of engagement. So if you need to take like a big spike in power, 1-1-1 is totally acceptable on this hero as well. After that, I generally recommend maxing out Plague Wards. However, I also think it's fine to take 2 points in Plague Wards and max out Poison Sting if you want to be higher pressure. That build is much better for poking people out of lane and just, generally getting kills, where maxing Plague Wards is better for farming and better for controlling the area if you don't have as much kill pressure. Then yeah, it's always you max out Plague Wards and Poison Sting. It's the best by far. You take your ulti at 6, and basically you can always look for kills when you ult. This hero is really good at that. Now, let's talk about the scaling and why I think this hero is so good. So, a big thing for me about Dota is, can the hero scale? Does the hero scale? All of the heroes in this list. Veno is no exception ever since people figured out the items. So what are the items? Typically, starting items is Wand 3 branches. Then you buy an Orb of Frost. That is very, very common, so you can kite the enemy, and it amps your Septic Shock damage. Again, remember, debuffs give you damage. They give the Plague Wards damage as well. So people buy Orb of Frost. Some people buy Blightstone. So Orb of Frost. After that, buy Boots. You're very slow. You just need the kite. Then people tend to buy Urn. After Urn, this is where things get weird. Sometimes you can buy Tread so you have a bit of health. It's a faster timing than Vessel, but if it's an OP Vessel game, you're against Dragonite, some Huskar, stuff like that, you can pick up an earlier Vessel. Then, if it's a really, really good Vessel game, instead of going back for Treads, you can just be giga tempo. You can literally just walk in the enemy jungle, click Vessel on people, just fight off cooldown. And then if you want to do that, buy a Force Staff. You need to stay alive. You need to kite. Just buy a Force Staff. Don't buy other items. People just, I don't know, they overcomplicate it. They like going Vessel into Axe. You need mobility on Veno. You want to control areas, and when the enemy tries to go on you, you just need to Force Staff away. They're going to get stuck in your Gale, stuck in your Plague Ward, stuck in your ult, and you need to just live. So buy a Force Staff. Then you want Treads, Pike. After Pike, it's typically Axe. What the Axe does is increases Septic Shock damage significantly, and so basically you can start to kill people very, very quickly. The hero starts to hit really hard. By the way, this hero has a damage talent, which is pretty damn funny, so it scales well with that. And then after that, you buy a Manta Style. You just need to stay alive. Like, unironically, Veno's items typically in the offlane should be like, sometimes people even rush a Pike, so you don't have to buy Vessel. People will go Treads Force Staff, totally acceptable, or Treads D-Lance, very acceptable as well, by the way. If you want to skip the Vessel, totally fine. So yeah, the end items should be like Vessel, Treads, Pike, Ags, then it's like stats, or a BKB. Manta, Lincoln's, BKB, Scotty, just be obnoxious and unkillable and get in the way. And this hero is going to feel excellent. All right, and getting into the best offlaner of the patch on average is a hero that I genuinely thought was terrible until recently. I looked a lot more into the hero. I've watched it a lot more. I've tried to open my eyes, and that is Slardar. I know it's hard for me to say this. I've been a Slardar hater for a while. Like, I'm willing to admit it. I've been a hater, but yeah, the hero just continues to impress me. The more and more I see it, now that it's becoming more and more popular, the more I'm impressed. Now, why is this hero the best? First of all, laning stage, very stable, right? Yeah, it has some bad matchups for sure. Has some bad matchups. Troll can be a little tough. I would say Ursa is honestly pretty playable though. TB can be kind of hard. TA can be a little annoying, but most of them are pretty playable. And the hero can lane in a couple different ways. So in terms of starting items, frequently if it's a good stick lane, you're 1-3 branches. If it's not a good 1-3 branches lane, you buy bracers components. Basically always you want to have 2 bracers. However, if it's a lane where you need early boots, the lane's a bit hard. You can just go 1 bracer into boots or boots into 1 bracer. After that, you want 2 bracers. In most matchups, you just want to play for CS. Basically, this hero is one of the best winning CS heroes in the game. So you play for that. After that, you buy your boots. So, 2 bracers, boots, treads, soul ring. This hero has pretty severe mana problems, so you want to buy a soul ring. The stats are just great on this hero. After that, it's blink, it's into shard. If you don't know what Slardar shard does, it's really one of the most redeeming qualities of the hero. It makes your stun apply corrosive haze, and this is so good because it makes you farm way faster, way faster. On top of that, when you go on people, you don't want to have to stop and cast your ult. It's really slow. It often will get you killed. It will make you lose a lot of damage. It feels bad. So being able to stun a creep wave, farm it way faster because it applies corrosive haze for 5 seconds to everyone who got hit by the stun is really nice. It allows you to kite in and out of fights without having to click your ult, right? You could just kind of get a clean jump with like a storm or a PA without having to raise your hand and click your button. And then you buy BKB. Guys, don't overcomplicate the items, please, on Slardar. They're very straightforward. It's not the hard part of the hero. After BKB, you can buy, Ags if it makes you tanky in that game, right? If the matchups are good, it gives a lot of armor, it gives status resist. So if that's good that game, you can buy Ags. If you just need an AC for your team, buy an AC. You can frankly buy really anything. There's a lot of Slardar players who will buy BKB into Yules. If it's just a game where there's an Ursa killing people, they'll just buy a Yules and Yules the guy. I've seen literally 4 staff if people just need to kite out of cogs or something weird like that. It's a hero where you can straight up just play around the fact that amp damage, or what is it, corrosive? I don't even know what this, his ult that reduces armor by 20 at max level is really what you play around. You just need to stay alive. So you buy whatever lets you do that. If, you have a bit of luxury, you can go AC into Moonshard or like AC into Silver Edge and try to kill people. That is an option on the hero. It is acceptable. But in general, just be tanky, buy utility. If you need a Lincoln's to stay alive, buy a Lincoln's. You should probably have an Ags in that case. But you get what I'm saying. Just don't complicate the items. This hero doesn't really play around having a billion items. If you do, for some reason, end up getting really farmed, which is possible, because at level 20, with your shard, you can one-shot creep waves with your 20 talent. That is crazy. You can one-shot creep waves. And so this hero can begin to scale because at that point in the game, you farm really fast. In mid-game, you farm okay, not the best, just okay. It's the biggest drawback of the hero. You farm like just average. But yeah, basically on this hero, guys, farm your lane as long as you can. Buy a blink, buy a shard, get active on those timings, then buy your BKB. Now, in terms of skill build, basically you always take stun at level 1. If the lane is easy, you take bash at level 2. If the lane is hard, you can take your Q. Now, why is the Q so good? What a lot of people don't know is Slardar is basically immune to slows for the first 1.5 seconds of his sprint because of his facet, right? And this is huge. If you're laning against something like the very meta Jakiro or a Lich or a CM with Q and they're trying to go on you, you just click your Q and you run away. You can steal this at level 2 in really bad lanes if you're laning with the Spirit Breaker. You can't lane, just take your Q, stay alive, don't feed, play for the mid game, play for the fact that your carry should carry you, considering you're just going to be amping people and making them die in 2 hits. Yet the lane is easy. You take stun, then bash, then stun again, then sprint at 4, then you max your stun by 7. This is just your farming ability, it's your kite ability, it's your poke ability, it just does everything. So you always max stun by 7. Then you basically always max sprint. Basically, the hero's gameplay is to like go in, stun people with the shard or with amp, and then use the max sprint to kite in and out and do it again. You just kite in and out, kite in and out, kite in and out. And you want max sprint to do that. It scales incredibly well. It goes down in cooldown. His ability scales very, very well. And so yeah, really the big thing about Slardar, there's a couple other things I'd like to talk about in this hero. Just a couple of notes. Number 1, gaining armor in Dota is kind of hard. It's just a little inconvenient. So his ulti is just better for that reason. Maybe if they make like a lot of good armor items or just very convenient armor items, our Slardar will fall off. That's probably true, but it's kind of hard to find good armor items. There's a lot of really good just right-click carries in the meta, at least at the pro scene, but in general, most heroes take advantage of amp damage, but things like TA, Dragonite, Weaver, Kez, Gyro, it's most carries, but these heroes are particularly good examples, heroes that just can connect their damage very easily with Slardar. it just feels insane. And the last thing I'd like to say, the reason why I'd probably put this hero at number 1 is because of the fact that it just does well regardless of the game state. I have seen a billion Slardars at this point have almost no game. Their game will be bad. They have 2 items, Blink and a Shard, at minute like 25 in some games. And still, the hero is just getting a decent stun off, kiting out. The hero they stun is getting exploded because they're taking bonus 1 billion damage from right clicks. They kite out, they do it again. And yeah, that's going to be all. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be making more lists like this, so stay tuned. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace!